The ground shuddered under Maya Hale's boots as light broke over the Badlands. Her recorder died. The camp lay scattered like paper in the dawn wind, tracks 3 talons deep and wide as a bowl led into a ravine no map marked. She had studied predators her whole life, but she had never expected to meet one that still hunted. A shadow rose on the far rim. Spines like knuckles rose along its back. A mouth opened, and a low sound spilled across the valley. Maya Hale had been chasing the past since she could hold a brush. Her father was a paleontologist, and her childhood was filled with bone dust and the smell of canvas tents under desert suns. The Badlands of Oklahoma were her second home. Here the soil had stories older than human memory. The red and gold layers of rock were a library written in stone, and every dig was a chance to turn a page that no one had read in millions of years. She had come this season chasing a theory. Fossils of Acrocanthosaurus had been found before, yet always in pieces scattered and incomplete. She believed there was a burial site out here untouched by time. If she could find it, she could finally prove her father's old hypothesis that these massive predators had been social hunters, not solitary brutes. That kind of discovery could rewrite textbooks and win her the funding her small research team desperately needed. The camp sat on a bluff above a dry riverbed. Tents flapped in the restless wind. Equipment cases lay stacked near a line of flags marking the latest grid for excavation. Her team was small but skilled. Evan was her closest friend and the best field geologist she knew. His hands could read rock the way some read music. Lena was young but fierce, with a knack for spotting fragments others would miss. Dr. Singh, the senior member, brought decades of wisdom and a calm voice in the face of every setback. Life here moved with the rhythm of the dig. The sun rose early, burning off the night chill. Days were filled with scraping, chiseling, and hauling. The silence of the Badlands was deceptive. Wind hissed across the canyons, and coyotes called at dusk. When storms rolled and they came fast and hard, slashing the earth with rain before vanishing into sudden blue. On the 3rd evening of the season, they sat around a small fire. The conversation turned to the strange noises Lena claimed she had heard while cataloging specimens near the ravine. Low rumbles that made the ground seem to hum. Maya teased her about late-night ghost stories, yet a part of her mind filed the detail away. Sound traveled oddly in these canyons, but sometimes it carried truth from far away. They had been warned by locals, too. The rancher who let them cross his property shook his head when she mentioned working near the old dry river. He told her of cattle found dead, without a mark, as if fear alone had killed them. He spoke of shadows in the moonlight too large to be any coyote or cougar. Maya smiled politely and took the warning as folklore. Science had no room for campfire tales. Still, her father had once said that every legend begins with a seed of truth. Each night, Maya reviewed the day's notes by lantern light. The finds were promising, but small. Teeth worn smooth from age. Bone shards turned fragile as paper. She knew they were close, but time and budget were always enemies. The museum wanted results, or they would pull their support. Her dreams were restless. She often saw a silhouette moving through the mists of deep time, a ridge of spines along its back, yellow eyes that fixed on her from across an ancient plain. She told herself it was only the product of long hours and too many research papers. Yet on the morning when the tracks appeared at the edge of camp, her doubts began to crack. They were pressed deep into the hard ground, and the pattern matched nothing she had ever seen alive. 3 clawed toes, a step length that spoke of something immense. Evan argued it must be an eroded print from millions of years past, exposed by wind. Maya wanted to believe him, but the edges were sharp, fresh. The Badlands kept their secrets well. She had come to uncover bones, but now she felt the land itself watching her. The morning after the tracks appeared, the wind shifted. It carried the scent of damp earth, though no clouds marred the sky. Maya woke early, unsettled. The air felt thick, as if the Badlands were holding their breath. She called the team together. Evan brought plaster to make a cast of the prints. Lena carried the camera gear. Dr. Singh trailed behind with his field journal. The prints began at the edge of camp, then led toward the ravine half a mile away. The ground was dry and firm, yet each step pressed several inches deep. That alone meant a weight far beyond any living predator in this region. When they reached the ravine rim, they stopped. Below lay a twisting gash in the earth, its floor hidden by dense growth. No river ran here anymore, but the shape of the land suggested water had once carved its path over centuries. Maya scanned for signs of erosion that could explain the prints, but her eyes kept returning to the shadows below. Something about the silence gnawed at her. Not even the usual insects hummed. Evan crouched to measure one of the deeper impressions. 14 inches across, he muttered. Depth suggests at least 5 tons. He glanced at her. That's impossible. Lena snapped photographs, but her hands trembled. I swear I heard something here 2 nights ago. The same low rumble, like it was under my feet. Maya forced a steady tone. We'll document everything. Could be a rare geological event. Soil collapse can cause patterns like this. Even as she said it, the lie tasted bitter. They began following the prints along the rim. After 200 yards, they vanished into a steep slope of loose shale. Evan started down, but a rock slide forced him back. Too unstable, he said. If we want to track it, we'll need ropes. Back at camp, they agreed to return after gathering the right gear. Maya spent the afternoon reviewing old survey maps. The ravine was not listed on any official records. That alone was strange. By evening, a gusting wind swept through camp, bringing with it a faint metallic tang. That night, the power to their equipment flickered and died. The generator was intact, yet the fuel line lay torn as if cut by something sharp. No human footprints marked the dust. In the darkness, a sound rolled through the canyons, deep, resonant, almost felt rather than heard. Lena covered her ears. Evan scanned the shadows with a flashlight, but the beam caught nothing. When morning came, they found the second sign. Near the edge of the excavation grid, a fresh carcass lay in the dust. A pronghorn, its body unmarked, eyes wide in frozen terror. Flies had not yet found it. Maya examined the ground and spotted another print beside the body. Same 3 clawed toes, edges crisp. Dr. Singh closed his journal. I've seen this pattern before. In the field, years ago, in Africa. Not identical, but close. It was connected to a set of fossilized tracks belonging to a predator from the early Cretaceous, Acrocanthosaurus. Evan frowned. That species has been extinct for over 100 million years. Singh met Maya's gaze. So has this print. Or it should be. The decision to investigate further came without discussion. They prepared climbing ropes, lights, and enough supplies for a full day in the ravine. As they set out, clouds began to gather over the horizon, though the forecast promised clear skies. The descent was slow. Loose rock shifted under their boots. The deeper they went, the cooler the air became. At the bottom, the dense growth closed around them, muting the outside world. The prints reappeared in the damp soil, each one angled slightly, as if the creature had been turning its head to watch its own trail. Somewhere ahead, a branch snapped. Evan raised his hand for silence. They waited, listening. A single low exhale drifted through the green. Maya's heart pounded. The shape from her dreams was no longer confined to her mind. It was real, and it was here. The air in the ravine was heavy and damp, a stark contrast to the arid plateau above. It smelled faintly of moss and something else, something faintly coppery that Maya could not place. Every step sank slightly into the soft earth, leaving their own trail that felt like an echo of the monstrous prints ahead. They moved single file, Evan in front, Maya behind him, Lena and Dr. Singh covering the rear. Each print they followed seemed fresher than the last. Small rivulets of water pooled in the depressions, rippling with each tremor that seemed to run through the ground. The vegetation grew thicker until the light from above faded to a greenish gloom. Their headlamps pierced the undergrowth in narrow beams. Evan halted suddenly and motioned them forward. Just ahead lay a mound of earth partially covering what looked like bones. Large bones, too large for any modern animal in this region. Maya crouched and brushed away the soil. The surface beneath was smooth and pale, the texture unmistakable to her trained hands. "Femur," she whispered. "Theropod, at least 3 meters long." Dr. Singh knelt beside her, tracing the exposed bone with a fingertip. "And not fossilized. This is recent." Lena shifted uneasily. "That's not possible." They marked the location, and took photographs, but the unease in the group was palpable. If these bones were fresh, then whatever they belonged had died only days or weeks ago. But no living species matched the size. As they pressed on, the ravine widened into a basin. Sunlight filtered down to the canopy, illuminating a strange arrangement of stones in the center. They formed a crude semicircle, and within it lay fragments of bones, deer, coyotes, and something larger. They were arranged as if intentionally placed, not scattered by scavengers. Evan crouched, examining the ground. This isn't a kill site like I've seen before. This looks deliberate. Maya's skin prickled. Deliberate by what? No one answered. They decided to split for a short survey. Lena and Dr. Singh would circle left around the basin, while Maya and Evan would take the right path. Their radios crackled faintly as they kept in touch. The terrain on their side sloped upward slightly, giving them a vantage point over the basin. From here, Maya noticed more tracks, but not just the large three-toed impressions. There were smaller ones, too, as if juveniles had walked here. She took quick photographs, her mind racing. If Acrocanthosaurus still existed somehow, were they breeding? A sudden cry from Lena's radio froze her in place. Maya, you need to see this. They hurried to the left side where Lena and Dr. Singh stood near a sheer cliff face. Embedded in the rock was a massive claw mark, deep, parallel gouges running over 6 feet high. No climbing animal in this region could have made them. Fresh, Lena breathed. There's still dust falling from the edges. Before they could respond, a sound rolled through the ravine. It was low but powerful, like a thunderclap stretched into a growl. The air seemed to vibrate with it. Birds erupted from the canopy in panicked flocks. The team instinctively huddled together. Maya forced her voice steady. We need to get higher ground and document everything before we... The sound came again, closer this time, and was followed by the crashing of undergrowth. Whatever made it was moving fast, each footstep shaking the ground. Evan pointed toward a rock outcrop. Up there, they scrambled up the slope, pulling each other by the arms. From a vantage point, they could see the basin clearly. The undergrowth at its far edge shuddered, then parted as something emerged. It was massive, at least 30 feet from snout to tail. A ridge of tall neural spines ran along its back, giving it a jagged silhouette. Its skin was a mottled pattern of dark green and rust, blending with the foliage. The head was broad, jaws lined with teeth that glinted even in the dim light. Maya's breath caught. Every reconstruction she had ever seen in museums came to life before her eyes. Acrocanthosaurus. It moved with a slow, deliberate gait, sniffing the ground near the semicircle of stones. Its eyes, golden, unblinking, scanned the basin. Then it raised its head, nostrils flaring. It's tracking something, Evan whispered. The creature turned its head toward their direction. Maya felt an instinctive chill run through her, not just from being seen, but from the sense that it recognized them as more than just prey. It stared for a moment, then let out a sound halfway between a hiss and a rumble. Without warning, it moved, not toward them, but deeper into the ravine. The crashing faded until silence returned, leaving only their pounding hearts. They descended cautiously. The basin now felt like a trap waiting to be sprung. Dr. Singh insisted they mark the site for later study, but Maya argued to leave immediately. The vote was split until a sharp metallic noise echoed from the direction the creature had gone, like stone striking stone in a rhythmic pattern. Tool use. Lena asked incredulously. Signal, Maya replied. Maybe to others. Their return route was different from the path they took in. The prints here were more numerous, overlapping, as if a group had passed recently. Maya photographed them all. The daylight above had shifted toward evening when they finally reached the slope leading out of the ravine. Halfway up, the ground trembled again. A shadow moved along the canyon wall, elongated and distorted but unmistakable in shape. They froze until it passed. Back at camp, exhaustion mingled with adrenaline. They reviewed the footage, the prints, the claw marks, and a brief, shaky clip Lena had managed to take when the Acrocanthosaurus entered the basin. It was enough to prove the species was real and alive. But it also proved something else. Its movements were too measured, its gaze too aware. That night, no one slept well. The The wind carried distant rumbles, some so low they were felt in the bones rather than heard. Maya lay in her tent thinking of the smaller tracks. If there were young, the danger was not just one predator. It was an entire hidden population. By morning, new signs appeared at the edge of camp. A spiral pattern of stones, almost identical to the arrangement in the basin, with a single deer skull placed at its center. It had not been there the night before. "This is a message," Dr. Singh said grimly. Evan shook his head. "From a dinosaur? That's not possible." Maya studied the spiral. "It's possible if they're not the dinosaurs we thought they were." She proposed a second expedition, this time with motion-triggered cameras and audio recorders. Lena argued it was too risky without knowing how many were out there, but in the end, curiosity won. They entered the ravine again, following the fresh prints. Deeper inside, they found what appeared to be a nesting area. Large depressions in the soil, lined with vegetation, some containing fragments of eggshell as large as a human hand. The shells were thin yet strong, their inner surfaces damp as if they had been vacated only recently. As Maya photographed them, a distant sound echoed, the same rhythmic stone striking they had heard before. Only now it was answered by another from further away. "They're communicating," Dr. Singh said softly. The realization changed everything. These were not mindless relics of prehistory. They were intelligent, organized, and possibly territorial. Evan's voice was low. "If they see us near the nests." A sudden rustle cut him off. A juvenile emerged from the foliage, no taller than Maya's chest yet still formidable, its eyes bright and curious. It tilted its head, studying them, then let out a short bark-like call. From the shadows, the answering crash of vegetation heralded the arrival of something far larger. Maya's voice barely rose above a whisper. "We need to move. Now." They retreated slowly at first, not turning their backs. The juvenile followed a short distance before stopping, watching them disappear into the trees. Back in the open, they realized the implications. The Badlands were not just hiding a predator. They were home to a hidden society of them, and now that society knew about the intruders.